Half-time, Game 5 in the NAB Cup, and you've got to say, Carlton looking very good. Favola been very busy, got 4 goals, one of them a 9-pointer. They're up by 30 points after they led by 11 points at quarter time. 1-8-6 play 0-5-3. Work that out if you can. It's time to go into the inner sanctum right now. We're going to talk with Craig Bradley. Carlton assistant coach and former champ, of course, Craig Bradley joins us now, the game's record holder as well. Craig, one thing that jumps off the page with the stats, more kicks, a lot more kicks than hand passes tonight. Is that by design?
Oh, not necessarily. We're trying to move the ball up the middle of the ground, and the guys are linking up well. Obviously, we want to use plenty of handball, but we're trying to go direct as we can, and at the moment it's going well.
Braddles, Bryce Gibbs, the way you've used him in his development over this last year or two, a tagging player last year, a little bit out of defence, more midfield tonight. How do you see his evolution, given the big investment you made in him initially?
Sorry, mate, who was that player?
We're talking about Bryce Gibbs, just how you've used him the last couple of years.
Yeah, Bryce started off really well in the first quarter and got plenty of it, and he was on the wing there, and he came off, had a rest, and we put him in the midfield. He's been fantastic for us. Certainly had a great pre-season, and he's been really instrumental in this first half.
Braddles, the other one's probably Nick Stevens. It seems to me, played him centre back as Tim discussed with him before the break, but a great kick. You've got Chris Johnson has come across from Melbourne as well. You want to utilise your better kickers from the back half of the field?
Oh, absolutely. Nick's, he's had a good pre-season. We've got him across the half-back because he does kick the ball so well, and Chris Johnson's got a great left leg on him. He kicked a great goal, and if those guys can spot up targets from half-back and we don't turn the ball over as much, we're seeing tonight it really helps us.
Well, Craig, talking of pre-seasons, Chris Judd, how would you rate his pre-season?
Oh, he's been fantastic, as always, Juddy. He's really professional. He's had a great pre-season. Not sure how much we'll play him in the second half, but as always, he's a great leader down here, and he's doing a great job.
Craig, Favola, he's played well in the first half. You played well in the first half. But the unhealthy dependency on him to be a big goal scorer for you, are you sort of conscious of that, trying to work on that in this February-March period?
Oh, absolutely. That's been a real constant for us, and we've recruited well, I think, this year. We've got a lot of young kids down there. Mitch Robinson, as you've seen tonight, he'll push forward. Chrissy Yaron's I think he's got a bit of an ankle, but he'll be up forward. The young kid you see coming on, Gartlett, he's a small forward, so hopefully these guys can help out Eddie Betts and give Fev a bit of a chop out up there.
The other guy in the forward line, Braddles, has been Mitch Robinson. We've really admired his attack on the football. Picked 40 in last year's draft. You must be happy with the early signs.
He's been fantastic. He's a great kid. He's a bit of an extrovert and brings a lot to the character of the side. But for such a young kid, he's played well in the trial games, and he's one of the options up forward that hopefully can help Fevy up there.
Craig, thanks very much for your time. Half-time,
Cheers,
your team up by 30 points and looking the goods. One of the greats from Carlton, Craig Bradley. Coming up very shortly, an interview with Drew Petrie as we talk about North Melbourne, who are off the pace at the moment. They've got some work to do. It's half-time at the Dome. Back shortly.
Scoring effort by them at 63-33 against a strong Kangaroos North Melbourne lineup. And the match stats to half-time. There's marks inside 50.
Yeah, well, Carlton had 4 marks inside 50 in the first 4 minutes of the game. There's only been 5 between both sides since. So defences are doing okay in the air, but Carlton just moving it in there more efficiently by hand, as we've seen, running it through the 50, having shots at goal.
And then their precision kicking. We've been seeing 200 handballs a game, pretty much every game we've seen in this pre-season. Carlton aren't going to have that many, but they're kicking the ball well to each other.
Let's have a look at the Toyota AFL Dream Team points to half-time as they stand right now.
Well, 75 is a great result. Anything averaging over 100 for a game, so 50 for a half is good. If Favola's going to, he's going to take marks and hit the scoreboard. If he's going to play up the field, he's going to be good for the Dream Team.
Well, he's had, 11 possessions at the moment, so he's had a lot of the footy. That's even a big possession game for a Favola. He wouldn't get 20 possessions a game all that often.
So that Dream Team starts for the home and away. You can join up now. Go to the website afl.com.au.
It's interesting, Bruce. One of the things statistically last year with Carlton, their third quarters, they lost by a total of about 200 points. For some reason, they just had poor third quarters. They may well know about it. Be interested to see at the early stage of this new season, can they have a good third quarter?
Tim, down to you, mate.
Well, Carlton's medical team isn't too concerned about Chris Yarran. You saw him come off early in that game. He has damaged his ankle. The ligament, the lateral ligament in his right foot, apparently he didn't have either of those ankles bandaged, but they're not too concerned about him. He's walking around. He's not on crutches or anything. The other thing is Chris Judd. Now, apparently Chris Judd will play probably most of the second half again. He had a heavy workload in that first half, but he is in a heavy workload phase of his pre-season training. Apparently they're going to taper that next week. He may not play nearly as much as he plays tonight, but that's all part of the Chris Judd program.
Didn't have a possession in the second term, had 8 in the opening term, and Lee touched on it. The number of kicks so far: Carlton 94, 70 hand passes, North Melbourne 71 and 84 hand passes. So Carlton using the footy by foot, which is a little unusual in the pre-season so far. One of the substitutes is on for North Melbourne too. Garlett is in a forward pocket. McIntosh knocks it down. Gibbs going nowhere. There's Judd. Slick hand pass. Gibbs comes away. His 17th possession. Deep into attack, but Hansen comes up and takes the mark on his chest.
They'll be expecting more from Hansen. Had just the 3 touches in the first half, playing 45 minutes, so the predominant amount of that first half, but they need him to stand up.
Swallow drives it around the outer side. Petrie's the target, fisted away from behind by White. Harvey, did he keep it alive? No. Or did he? Apparently he did. What was the whistle for there? Around the outer side, Carlton. Throw, was it? Cloak's got it in any case. Cloak is about 60 metres from goal.
Kick to his opponent. He went upfield, and Hansen at least took the dangerous space in the middle of the 50-metre arc to put his direct opponent kick straight to him.
So Wells, clever little kick. And then Harding, is that out in the full? Oh, touched.
Even if he'd marked it, then it's a very wide option, and I think most time you have the ball in your hands at the moment, AFL sides, they want to come through the corridor, they want to get in their forward line quickly, and if you're going around the boundary, you're not achieving that.
Stevens started across half back, and Lower was his immediate opponent, and that might have swapped for the moment. Now Judd getting plenty early again in this term. Johnson, that's good vision to Russell. Murphy should goal. It's not going to be a goal. And well done there by Ferrito. Now,
yeah, Lower's often played that role for the Kangaroos as a defensive forward. We talked about that wide kick in earlier, Bruce, when they missed the target, but it was 50 metres from goal out on the boundary line. You go up on that 45-degree angle there. If you make the kick, you're still only 30 metres from your goal. But if you don't make the kick, well, they're going to kick a goal straight back over your head.
So it's Ferrito, and here's Wiggins, who's kicked a good goal in the first half. He's leant back on that and missed it.
Maybe behind back over your head.
Brendan.
So a let off for North Melbourne there. They've got to get some.
Got all their numbers in the centre corridor except this one get out in the back pocket, but now they're hemmed in a bit.
Ferrito sacked himself. Run straight to the pocket. They work it around the outer side. Pratt's kick goes to the wing. And here he is. Cruz Garlett. Now that is a name as he goes down towards half forward. And I was wondering if Carlton's number 8, his parents thought about Cruz as maybe a Christian name. Here's Pratt. Comes across the ground. Drifting up the ground is Urquhart. Well, that was forward. The umpire says it went back though. Doesn't matter. Urquhart's away. Kicks inside the forward 50. From behind, Hale. Had it punched away by the man in front, Thornton. Now this ball is close to the boundary line. Was it a push in the back against Waite? It was. He'll get the free kick. Well, Waite didn't want to take it across the line. He just propped in front, and Thomas cannoned into his back. Grigg goes the longer option. Thornton engages the short man who'd run on. That's Stevens. He goes to the outer side. Bauer's got the football at right half back.
Goes short. It was interesting a moment ago because Thomas initially tackled him well, and then Waite fell over and Thomas went down with him.
He held the ball in, Waite. If the contact hadn't come to the back, it would have nearly been holding the ball.
He had him just where he wanted him, Thomas, but ended up giving the free kick away. So the Blues to set up. Here is Waite. He's got a lot of dash. And with one bounce, he kicks the ball deep and hard to Favola. Well done, Ferrito. So the swap looks like it's been made. Gibson off him and Ferrito on. Back to Simpson. Goes back, but that's okay because he's in the forward 50. You can do that. Russell gets to Jacobs. He's going to try and set Judd up for from 9-pointer, but he gets into trouble. had a fair while, and then Murphy, good tackle by Harvey, and they've just overcooked this. Harvey with that lovely little dummy, it away. Kangas might make them pay on the burst.
Rawlings got it from Harris, a wonderful run back. Terrific stuff there by the youngster. Haven't seen a lot of him, Joseph, but that was wonderful pressure taken by Murphy. Untidy hand pass. Judd's got it though at the 50. Again under pressure. Goes to Bauer. Back it comes to Jacobs. Now Stevens looks inside the forward 50, measures it, and that is a beautiful kick. Gibbs has got it.
As he floats around the field very well, he always puts himself in a position that's going to be dangerous to receive the ball.
In front, Cruiser went to ground.
And by that I mean he doesn't waste any time. He's always looking at where he can be dangerous, either when his team's got the ball or when he's in defence.
Rawlings inside the front 50, marked by White, and attack initiated by Garlett from the back pocket. Back come Carlton. Cloak gave it across to Johnson, and this one bounces out of bounds at left half forward.
Well, we're halfway through the first game of the season, and I think the defensive energy always drops off a little bit. It's now a turnover game. It's a matter of which team can hang on to the ball and obviously get their scoring shots, because there's going to be a lot of errors, I think, made around the middle of the ground.
You had him by the arm.
So it's Cloak's ball. McIntosh unhappy. Cloak to the pocket. Well done by Russell. And then Harding under the pump. Rawlings, I think.
Just undid his good work, but it was smart play to tap that back in. His chance of marking the ball was quite slim, but wanted to keep it in play for his teammates.
I think Rawlings was going wide to swallow a moment ago, and Harris just sort of cut it off. Petrie, almost a good grab, runs it over the line. Cloak's going to be interesting because Warnock's there waiting for Carlton to come back. You've got Cruiser, obviously. We've seen a bit of Jacobs tonight. He's looked all right, but it's his third year on the rookie list, Jacobs. So if he doesn't make it this year, he's gone under the rules.
It's interesting, he played senior football back in 2006 in South Australia for Woodville West Torrens. Umpire tosses it up just forward of the wing. Cruiser did pretty well with the body. Joseph went to ground, was taken high. He's hurt, but he's going to be pinged for holding the ball, which will hurt him even more. Copped a whack in the scone right there, and he's slow to get up as Power runs away. A searching kick inside the forward 50. That was terrific work on the ground by Jamison, allowing White to go back and take the mark. They like the ball with Johnson. He'll be a Lindsay Gilby type out of defence, I'd suggest. That was a lovely kick going wide, and now 50 will take Russell beyond the wing.
They kick the ball long into their forward 50 more than anybody, the Kangaroos, and that's one of the reasons maybe often people say they've played better than you think they can, because they play nice direct football and turn the ball over less around the middle of the ground.
Doesn't go for the 9-pointer. Finds Favola on the lead, who's been terrific. He's bulked up a bit too, and he's got the ball in the right full forward pocket.
One thing North have been unable to do often enough tonight is get it into that launch area to kick it long. They've actually, coming out of defence, they just haven't been able to be penetrating enough. They've come out wide and the ball's been turned over or gone to a contest.
They'll try to get to Urquhart. He's their main runner out of defence in the group. They've got then Harding tonight.
Not beyond him, this one, for 6 points. About 10 metres in from the boundary. He likes it off the boot. He studies his work, but like Tiger Woods watching a putt roll in at the Masters.
I'm sure they're very happy, Carlton, that Favola's kicked 5 goals, but I think they'd love in this part of the season that they could kick 15 goals and Fev didn't kick any, because you know that Favola can kick his 5, 6, 7, 8 goals fairly regularly, so you already know that. It's developing those other options, and options other than the small guys. They need more potential go-to targets, I think, in that forward half to go that bit further.
Lee, would you give Fev a rest and have a look at another forward structure in the second half of this game?
Well, I would have thought so. This tonight's game to be won. Fev's had a good half, but I'd like to see Carlton, I think, for their own growth, get used to going into a forward half without Favola.
So Power read it pretty well.
Ball's pinned.
players get so used to going to those forwards. If a player rewards you by getting the ball, then you keep going to them. So Carlton just go to Favola time after time, and I think they need a bit more to be top 2 or 3.
Zeeble did well, got it over the top to Wells and then gets it back. Couldn't quite break the tackle, but got it brilliantly to Wells. What a goal! A brilliant Wells and the kid Zeeble, eh?
He was good, and Daniel Wells' movement with the footy, I mean, he is poetry in motion. He just glides across the field. Wells, he always looks so balanced and controlled, but working the way through the tackle, Zeeble set it up.
The amazing thing about that play is he was third man up. He had every right to probably be off balance after that stoppage or clearance, but he was the next North Melbourne player there to support. That's fantastic running, fantastic play, and to stay involved was a big part of that goal.
That was terrific. There's Wells. One of
the things that players have to learn, and Zeeble did it exceptionally well then, is just to be able to take a tackle and still get away a constructive disposal.
Wells 16 possessions. Zeeble very good in heavy traffic. Of course, he can't drive. He's too young. Kick goes inside the forward 50. He was running in the traffic, always dangerous. Judge, Favola, Houlihan lines up, and a quick reply just as classy.
I think there's an element of reading the play and what Chris Judd just did then, and I think that's one of the reasons why clean ball handlers are so clean. He was down low here, anticipating that it was going to be low before the ball was there, and just that quick, clean hands and give, just so effective if everyone does that.
Got his palms behind the footy, got the dirt under his fingernails, and that's the way to take that clean ball at ground level.
One of the thoughts at Carlton too is to get some of their midfielders forward more often, and to play Judd rather than rotate him through the bench, actually rotate him through the forward line. The West Coast Eagles did that with so much success, not only with Judd but also Cousins, and it's something that Carlton are going to try and borrow this season.
Interesting stuff, Tim. Houlihan forward, Judd's handball, stretching Simpson, who's within range and doesn't quite. So just 4 times tonight, within a minute or two, Carlton have kicked a goal straight after the Kangaroos.
That question of actually Tim was talking about, of putting your midfielders into the forward line, I mean, I think everyone would like to do that with the good midfielders. The question is, can they run around in the middle of the ground and run around in the forward line rather than having a spell and interchange? That's always the physical challenge.
You might not necessarily have to hit the scoreboard either. As we could see, Judd's last 2 touches have created 2 very good opportunities.
Totally.
for goals.
You'd love him to spend time there.
Well, we've talked about it a lot over the years, but the really great midfielders kick goals as well, don't they? There's Armfield inside.
Nice.
Soft kick, wasn't it? You talked about that last week, Lee.
Favola just led hard, and really North Melbourne opponent had no chance there, because he just he hit it. Yeah, I think he might have just, they might have swapped opponents. I'm sure he's not his direct matcher. Bit of shepherding off the ball to create that leading space for Favola.
One of the criticisms of Armfield was probably one of the only criticisms was his kicking. He's a very hard runner. His work rate's fantastic. Missed some targets last year, but that was a very good spot up.
We kicked a brilliant goal from the other side a moment ago. This one you would think would favour the right footer, maybe a fraction more. He's guiding it through. He's got a half a dozen. Oh. Gee, that interview did him good at the start, Bucks. I reckon next time you ask him for what he'll say, I'll do that again.
That interview obviously affected his concentration badly. No, he's really odd. But he's got such a beautiful kicking action. He sort of virtually places the ball on his boot. The man next to me did that. I mean, the really good kicks, there's not much space between their hand and their foot. Basically, they almost put the ball on their instep, and that gives them consistent control. And Favola's a fantastic example of that.
It's closing in on Carey on the all-time pre-season list now.
Carlton galloping away at the present time, 84-39. How about those marks inside 50? So many of them. Favola on the lead.
Of the 13, Favola's had 6.
Most of them up around the 50-metre arc. Cruiser falling to the ground. Robinson back in the action. Armfield, Bauer, Simpson. Bauer.
Trouble now.
Actually, it was Anderson who gave it back to Simpson there. They had plenty of players around the ball. Tossed out by Grigg, and it was a toss. Houlihan. Robinson finds a way through. The youngsters doing very nicely out of the middle. Although Carlton will cough it up. Campbell to Swallow. All Carlton on the wing. Simpson dropping back, takes the mark, and to the other side of the ground they've got men everywhere. One of whom is this man, Armfield, feeds it forward, taken by Bentley. Bentley goes towards the pocket, coming up for Vola, dropping back is Houlihan.
They're getting numbers, or they're getting someone clear inside their 50 quite often, but I think the real issue is there's just not enough pressure with the on the kick coming inside 50. On that occasion, they were just able, with Bentley it was on that occasion, just able, it was 10 metres clear. There was just not enough pressure from North Melbourne. It's not something that we're used to from them. Usually they are very good in that area, but Carlton have been able to use the ball efficiently and get a man clear so that he can dispose with time and space.
So Houlihan kicking at goal. Not his long suit. He's a wonderful kick, but not always at goal. And he comes and he misses to the right hand side. Funny how it happens, isn't it?
It's probably another example. I mean, players generally, they often that set shot at goal, you kick the ball differently than you do for the other 95% of the time. And I think Houlihan is a good field kick, but a bit shaky in front of the big sticks.
He's played well tonight, Houlihan. He's interesting. Only 5 games last year. It's one of those guys. He's played a lot of footy. Last year you might have thought we can almost do without him. We're going that well, but you've seen his value here tonight.
And as we said, Fev says he's the best kick. If he was in the lead, he'd want him with the ball in the middle of the ground.
And that's a fair rap when you look at some of the other players in their team. Lower to Harding, to Anthony, and now to Garland. There's Campbell, I should say. It's been quietish tonight. Such a creative play. Back to Harris, who hasn't had a whole lot of it. Stevens stood his ground very well. Waits had a big third term. Bangs it back out with all the numbers.
Carlton worked so hard then from that stoppage to get numbers behind that North had the break, but they weren't able to get through them.
There is Jeffrey Garland. That's not such a good kick to Power. And Jeffrey Garland, who just kicked at his mum and Buddy Franklin's mum are sisters. Brett Ratton told me that yesterday. So this bloke's having his first run tonight for the Blues. And Robert Harvey, what a great champion.
Just looks weird, doesn't it, when players that have played for one club for so long and you see them in other colours.
You telling us something, Bucks?
No, didn't that look weird?
It did. I was
21.
I was just thinking about something else, but I won't go there. Houlihan, lower.
And I'd be surprised if Harves isn't more nervous tonight than he has been for most of his 300 AFL games. A different role, different club. I'm sure he would have had a few nerves in his stomach coming to footy tonight.
You'd just love to have him around the club, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, great fella.
With what he brings to you.
Fella.
He knows the game.
Sure does. Armfield, good. Well, Harris couldn't quite get him.
Brady Rawlings is as good as there is at this at that role. Shut Judd down after a damaging first quarter to no touches in the second, and he's not going to get any easy touches while he's on the field.
So Judd on the outer side, talking with him yesterday, we had some work together, and he was saying that he had caught up with Ben Cousins, and I think that part of his growing his hair is psychological preparation for round 1. Coming through as Betts tries to angle it across the goal, and the mark is taken by Favola. That will be something. Mr. Chalk and Mr. Cheese in round 1 as the ball comes in just short. I was going to say of 20, but the umpire says it's fine. Bentley's got it.
He looks a lot fitter, a lot more slim than he did in a Port Adelaide jumper. Now, whether he's had a great pre-season and he's up and running, or if the Guernsey itself, but he's moving very well.
So Bentley played some handy games for Port. Kicks it straight through. All Carlton.
Yes, I think, Bucks, all us stocky people know that a dark colour makes you look slimmer.
Right. And the socks up, maybe. Was he a socks down? I thought he was a socks down player at Port.
Yeah,
there might be an expectation from him.
He averaged 7 games a year for Port over the 3 years, so just couldn't quite make his mark there, could he? He's come to Carlton at a good time if he can.
It's take your advantages, your opportunities in pre-season to make your stake your claim.
There was a buzz about the Blues League when we came here tonight.
Yeah.
There's been a buzz about them all pre-season.
Well,
I reckon the bandwagon's getting bigger right now, don't
Well,
you?
as I say, the Hawthorn mould went to the bottom, got good draft choices, and then popped up. Obviously, won the premiership, and Carlton are hoping that they might be the next team to do that.
Your experience, Lee, over the stretch, could a team like Carlton get really high into that 8 this year? Are they capable of jumping straight into the 4?
Oh, I think the teams below the two grand final teams last year obviously got to find a bit, but I think all the rest of the 10, you can throw a blanket over them, I think.
Well, one stat that is a fact, in the last 15 seasons, a team that didn't make the 8 the year before finishes top 4 the next year. It's happened for 15 straight years.
It's almost inevitable that someone comes out of the pack. The same 8 just doesn't play 2 years in a row.
Margin is 52 points. It's thrown in right on the 50. Lurking behind was Garlett. Didn't go anywhere with the football. Emerging with it, Rawlings. Flicks it across towards Pratt. Pratt's in trouble. Went to ground. Robinson head down. Did well. Putting the body in down there. Murphy, as he always does. Cruiser. Back to Robinson. Wonderful stuff. Betts snaps a goal.
Well, you often talk to your players about enthusiasm. Everybody thinks they're enthusiastic. This kid here, Robinson, is exhibiting enthusiasm. He's bouncy, he's lively, he's working the man on the mark, his second, third efforts. I mean, they are really the kind of personalities that just keep at it.
The little step he put on there to get around that play.
Thought
And that was
himself
his
as well.
second or third effort in that bit of play. But you're right, he's been brilliant.
Number 40 in the draft. Have a look at those inside 50s. Gary Ablett Jr. was number 40 in the draft. Joe Watson, number 40. Admittedly, father and son, but that exact number, Michael O'Loughlin and David Hill. It's been a good number 40. Yeah. This guy looks the goods, doesn't he? I mean, he's made a huge impression here tonight.
He's reloading up.
It's real that one. If the umpire bounces the ball and it doesn't give both teams a fair go at it, they bring it back, throw it up.
Yep.
So the Blues looking terrific. They're giving the Kangaroos the Blues tonight. And Lee, like for Dean Laidley tonight, I mean, it's a bit of a wake-up call. You feel like you've had a good pre-season. You feel like everything's gone all right. You're getting belted. I mean, do you sort of think, hang on a sec?
Well, particularly when you've got all your personnel out there. I mean, they've got their good personnel out there, apart from probably Adam Simpson. So that's always disturbing. I mean, you move on pretty quickly this time of year, but hasn't been a good night for the Kangaroos.
This is Russell, got it from Bauer, goes across the ground, look out, arriving quickly. Wells didn't control the footy though. The hand pass from Bentley was ill-directed, picked up by Lower. He's away. Too clever by Half. No, it works out okay. Harvey gives it across towards Wells, who'd run on. That's a beautiful finish. Consummate run and finish by Wells.
It's that midfield turnover. As soon as you got the ball on the wing, you've got to look into the centre square and try and deliver it quickly if you've got a teammate clear. But if he's not quite clear, then this happens. Broken play, everyone's out of position. It's a bit of Russian roulette, and once the Kangaroos won the footy, then all of a sudden there was a few blokes sneaking forward.
That's when sides look their most dangerous, when they can affect a turnover.
Yeah.
That's really the only time that North have looked dangerous recently.
Dean Laidley on the right there. Well, Wells has been a shining light, hasn't he? I mean, 4 inside 50s, couple of goals, 18 disposals so far.
Yep.
He's carried the ball so well tonight. He's been a bit of a tease, Wells, hasn't he? Feel like he's an absolute elite midfielder, and he's been close, he's touched it, but hasn't quite grabbed it. So he's had a big boom. Griggs handball back. Judd held up in the tackle. It was a good tackle by McIntosh. Anthony did well. He's Hazelby's cousin.
He stays in the play well. He's been okay.
Zeeble.
He's followed up here again.
Shane Woden had a lot to do with his development last year. Good handball over the top. Corey Jones. Well, that's a big spray to the pocket. And they haven't been able to kick consecutive goals all night, the Kangaroos, and they've blown that chance.
Landed the job. Talking about them kicking the ball long to the forward line. Well, they've got 2 200-centimetre players deep in the forward line, so I guess you've got to put it up in the air, give them a chance, but unfortunately the ball comes out pretty quick if they don't mark it.
Good kick from Russell coming out. Done right. Simpson. Whoops. Here's a chance now then for Stevens. Not much of a chance. Claimed by Swallow. He fought him off. Swallow boarded him like a Somali pirate, but he fought him off. The kick goes down towards the attacking 50. Betts. Now Garlett. Garlett from 35 has missed everything. Out of bounds on the full.
Had the speed, but just didn't have quite the composure as a young player to just take that short step at the end to get balanced.
Oh, and that hurts.
And they say the game's not hard anymore.
Some examples of that tonight. A couple of times players coming back very hard. It's 1-1 in that department. Ferrito hurt Robinson early, and now you can see that Pratt, the man in front, was hurt that time coming back.
And he's not a guy to stay down when he's not hurt. So maybe he copped a knee. There it is.
Yeah, the knee in the back.
And
Very hard, that kneecap.
Well, kidney or ribs, it's not a good one. It's a pretty sensitive area.
Favola's big league. Well done, Ferrito in the front. And then Fev's second effort, good. And then Betts tried to get it up. And then Ferrito and Pratt coming from the field. Doubled up, still in a lot of pain. Harris from half back. Lower the target. Johnson to try and corral him out there. The lowers kick. Cruiser dropping back into the hole. Hale. Well done, Waite. Second man up for the Blues. And Harvey from Thomas. And then back to Jones. And that kick not good again. Jones not having a great night. And now Thornton to mop up.
Time running out on the turn then. Gibbs, who's been terrific, goes to the middle, and Bentley pushes up the ground, can loop it over the top. He does that. Garlett, that was untidy. He missed the man running up. Gregg forcing it through though. He made amends, did Garlett. Goes with the outside of the boot, bounces it down towards full forward. In the opposite direction, Ferrito lost it.
Took him on, didn't make it.
Yeah, Garlett, I think, was hanging on for grim death, and he'll get the free kick.
He's very enthusiastic. We're talking about enthusiasm of Robinson. Well, Garlett's done the same thing. We saw Cruiser here went down in that contest and stayed down for a little while down the other end with an ankle. But Garlett's been very enthusiastic. Yeah, probably a little bit running too quickly into that shot at goal. Missed the handball, but he's followed up and he's showing some good intent.
Well, he's light. He's got to be quick.
So this is Jeffrey Garlett. Kicks from 35 metres out. Well done, young man. Right on the siren. He'll remember that one on the rookie list and on the score sheet. 3/4 time, game 5 in the NAB Cup. It's 103-45.